Hey guys, Filthy here, telling you how to beat White Unholds. So, White Unholds are the tier 2 variant of Unholds. They are much nastier. In addition to having just a little bit of armor on the head and body, which isn't all that relevant, it's a little bit relevant, not all that relevant. They're just nastier attackers overall, as well as mostly being found in the north, which means that they're a little bit more painful to deal with as your mobility is a little bit more limited. The strategy for facing these is very similar to facing regular Unholds. Indomitable is your friend. Your goal is to put very high melee defense targets that can run Indomitable nearly without break in front of Unholds, particularly groups of Unholds. This fight here, I actually make a pretty big mistake in positioning a little bit later. You'll see it. I do like Unholds as one of the fights where you can actually bring famed shields. It's really nice because they don't break shields particularly aggressively, which means they don't have a particularly shield breaking attack, which means high melee defense brothers using special shields with Indomitable in front of them is a great way to deal with them. Their loot's a little bit worse than their risk versus reward is a little bit higher risk than their weaker Unhold brothers, because although they are dropping bones, their gear isn't that great. The Unhold fur is used for a couple armor attachments. Some of the armor attachments are okay. Like if you want to fight the Goblin City, then the armor attachments you get from White Unhold fur is kind of nice. But in general, they're just a more dangerous fight than the other Unholds with loot that isn't particularly better. I take them a little bit later. Again, I want Indomitable with my brothers before doing this. I'm willing to bring pikes, archers, some two-handers, and frontline megas to stand in front of them. The goal is to focus fire without allowing your back ranks to be close to them. Similar to when you're facing Ancient Undead, it's very possible to have pikemen attack at the end of the turn, and then at the beginning of the turn attack and walk away again. That's very nice. Their knockback is, of course, the most annoying thing. Indomitable is basically necessary in this fight. Not having Indomitable leads to no ability to control their positioning. They do try to flank. They do try to get to your back ranks. So if they are able to toss your guys around with impunity, you will take ridiculous amounts of damage and wounds and eventually deaths. What else? Weapon types of that are good versus Unholds or good versus Ancient Unholds versus White Unholds as well. Things like anything doing large amounts of flesh damage. Decapitate is good. Swords are fine. Two-handed swords are great. Axes and hammers are okay. Hammers for the stagger effect more than anything else. Daze is all right, but not as good as stagger in my opinion versus them. Daze has a damage debuff and an initiative debuff, but the stagger guarantees that you're going to be acting ahead of them, where the Daze only sometimes guarantees that. As the other Unholds, Nimble is quite good. They do a lot of body damage. So a high HP, Nimble, and Colossus are all your friends when fighting Unhold. Battleforge in of itself is not particularly useful. High melee defense is super good. Watch your angles. If you can find positions, for example, if I were to tank this Unhold group by putting a brother right there, holding these two Unholds in place, and I could get archers on this diagonal where my brother doesn't block the shots on the archer, especially if you run a bunch of archers. In this fight, I'm using leveling pikemen during this fight, but a lot of times if I'm leveling archers, I'll bring a bunch of archers to this fight. You can line them up in a diagonal, all able to shoot that guy with no blockages, and you can focus fire Unholds very efficiently that way. Elevation terrain is really dangerous for you in the same way it's dangerous versus any of the enemies like orcs or other Unholds that have movement effects that they can apply to you. Elevation changes are bad for you in fights like this. Sooner or later, the Unhold, you will be in a position where you don't have Indomitable up and the Unhold's able to do something. Sooner or later, you will be thrown into a negative elevation position, and it will be much worse for you. So try to fight them on flat terrain. You can often reposition. We can't reposition here in this particular fight. We start too far, too many elevation changes up to reliably get away from them. We could try moving back a little bit, but we can't get these guys to safer ground. So this is another pretty bad position for us just based on the elevation changes. All right, anything else of note? I bring archers, pikemen, bannermen, some two-handers, not too many two-handers, and megas. If you don't have enough megas, take your best two-handers who have Indomitable, a fair amount of stamina, and by best I mean the highest melee defense for that, and you put a shield on them and use them to stand in front of Unholds. It's so much more important to control their positioning than it is to race them in damage. Unlike an Ancient Undead fight, this is not a race fight whatsoever. This is purely a control fight, making sure that the Unholds are attacking the targets that you want them to, not the more vulnerable targets in the back, and making sure you can apply damage in a reasonable way. say. If you watch the rest of this fight, which I of course will include, you will find that I make a very big mistake with sometimes the fact you can't rotate the camera really screws you up, and I miss a move that the Unholds can make where they can run a bunch of guys into my back rank, and it costs me dearly in terms of making this fight way, way, way harder than it needs to be. And you can see what happens when Unholds get into your back rank when they're not properly controlled. Anyways, guys, hopefully this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. It's tough to calculate how good the flail is because of all the incremental stuff, right? So we absolutely want that Unhold fight. Makes her really specialized, though. She really wants to be fighting humanoids or maybe orcs. And definitely undead. She wants to be in for undead and humanoids. I don't know about orcs. We'll see how this fill goes. I hate the variance on that. Like, it's going to be so fucking RNG heavy whether or not we do anything with it. Sometimes it's going to be super sad. Sometimes it's going to roll the high roll on a headshot and it's going to, like, obliterate somebody. Would have been nice if it was brute, for sure. Alright, these are Unholds. I want to run a very heavy back rank here. And we might even go like super ultra heavy with this. Certainly we don't need 14 here. Where's my legendary shield? There. Okay. Do you have Indomitable? Does. And recover? Yes. Sweet. Okay. So this seems reasonable. Only one archer, but so be it. No hybrids, but we're leveling. Where's the stun trinket? Okay. So its stand is at 54, 56, and 76. Can't actually get in there on the Care Bear, so we probably should. I don't want to fight this on weird elevation. I think I want most everybody up here if we can. Shit. Become twice as important in Beasts and Exploration. It's ridiculous how important it is now. I hate elevation versus creatures like this that just knock back non-stop. It's so annoying. What are these moves? Like, how are they doing this? Where is this elevation coming from? I see a giant fucking pit here. How did they move up 2 levels, pop in on the side here? It's so stupid. This fucks up so many things right there. This is a real problem. I know they have fucking Pathfinder, but this is a problem with the perspective. I can't see the actions they can take from this position, and that really sucks. So many unnecessary wounds we're gonna take here. I'm hating this right now so much. So bullshit. Like, Magris will die here. It's gonna get punched to death from these. We're staggered here, so we won't be able to get the it's not true, I guess we have adrenaline. Is there any way we can save Magris right now? Probably not. Yeah, rip Magris, that's our farmhand. So stupid. They come up like 3 elevation changes from a tile I can't see over what I thought was a pit to get in our guys in the worst possible position, and then batter this guy back and forth 3 times till he's dead. So fucking dumb. Really salty about that. Farmhands, whatever, like who cares, but... Oh, it wasn't. Magris wasn't the farmhand. What was Magris? The Wildman. Super salty about that. Was he knocked down? I don't think he was. I think he was killed. Well, you hadn't gone yet, apparently. This enemy design is sometimes very frustrating. Pretty salty about that. Well, I do like having 1 extra open roster slot in the team. I also like the ability to roll on characters. Yes, threw him downhill from some stupid location because we lost 1 turn of Indomitable, and now we're just like 5 elevation changes that fuck us. It's pretty unexciting. At least he got knocked back, I guess. Oh, this guy's free too. Yeah, this battle's a clusterfuck because of the positioning of these hills. Oh, I forgot to adrenaline there. Oh, I didn't want to move there at all. Certainly did not want to move beneath it. But again, the terrain, the fucking viewpoint here is so unpleasant. I didn't pass. I just hit Indomitable. I just hit it. I just clicked it and then moved on, and it just fucking. Now we get thrown. He gets to be on top of somebody else now. Yes, which he shouldn't be able to do. He shouldn't be able to do that here. White time. But we're losing characters return a level for no reason. Iron Man eats my inputs, right? Yeah, and real Iron Man only, if you were gonna play this for real, you'd only play with half the commands you make register. That's how you know you're a pro player. They breaking that shield? Oh, he cloaked again. Where is he? There. Would have been a good one to hit, I think. Yeah, dropped Indomitable for one round. Oh, they do whatever they like. can see the effect of overwhelm here in a way that you can't normally. Didn't die, huh? Oh, we just lost the guy and took a shit ton of wounds from just essentially a perspective, from not being able to see from this perspective, which really sucks. On what was supposed to be a leveling fight. That ability. If you don't have Indomitable up on every character adjacent to an Unhold for every single turn, and it's really hard to do that with the way the turn priority changes with initiative loss, as fatigue builds up, you will at some point get thrown by an Unhold. Alright. Rip our wild duelist. Oh, worse, rip our 190 male. Oh, it's surveil. 210 male, I guess. We didn't get any. Don't we need the other hides for the Kraken? Do they take white Unhold hides? I don't even know.